Hey everyone, and welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled to have you joining me for today's explainer. We're doing something a little bit different today, and honestly, it's going to be a lot of fun. We are basically going to run a playful culinary forensic investigation into a genuinely brilliant piece of kitchen engineering. We're going to look at exactly how a highly specific, incredibly efficient tool takes a seriously daunting task and turns it into an absolute breeze. Okay, let's dive into this. We all know the universal, kind of intimidating struggle I'm talking about here. You're at the grocery store, you spot this beautiful, fresh pineapple, but then you remember the sheer amount of wrestling required to actually get to the good stuff inside. You have to hack through that thick, spiky armor, dodge the sharp leaves, and then somehow carve out perfectly clean slices without losing half the fruit in the process. It's a total mess, right? Well, that exact struggle is what we're deconstructing today.
Section 1. The pineapple problem, a classic kitchen obstacle.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that we have to frame this fruit not just as a delicious snack, but as a natural fortress. It's literally built to keep you out, and it practically begs for a clever engineering solution to breach its defenses. So consider this our crime scene, or, well, more accurately, the aftermaths of a flawless culinary extraction. We're starting by looking at the finished result right in front of us, and we are going to work our way backward to figure out exactly how this incredibly pristine setup was achieved. Just take a second to appreciate how clean everything is on that cutting board. If you look toward the background, you can clearly see those natural barriers I was just talking about. First up is that severed, spiky green crown. That's the first line of defense. Right next to it is the rough, diamond-patterned skin. I mean, it looks tough, right? That outer shell is incredibly thick and fibrous. But then there's the third obstacle, which is that pale, hard, totally inedible central core that runs straight down the middle of the fruit. These three elements combined are exactly why the pineapple is so notoriously frustrating to prep by hand. Moving right along to Section 2, Anatomy of the Slicer, our kitchen hero. Since we know what we're up against, it is time to analyze the tool itself. Take a close look at the gadget resting horizontally on the surface there. Notice the really unique shape of the metal and plastic? Yeah, this isn't some multi-purpose, everyday chef's knife. This is a highly specialized piece of hardware engineered from the ground up for one single, complex mission: conquering the pineapple. Let's logically walk through what makes this thing tick, going from top to bottom based on the visual evidence. First, over on the left, which would be the top when you're holding it, we have this black ergonomic T-shaped handle. That's clearly designed so you can get a really good grip and apply serious rotational force. Moving down, you've got a smooth stainless steel central shaft, and you'll spot a small black release button right near the top of it, which is likely there so you can pop the handle off. But the real magic? That happens down at the business end. We're looking at a flat, circular metal base with a very distinct slit in it. And protruding right from the center of that flat base is a smaller inner tube armed with these sharp serrated teeth. Just looking at that jagged inner ring gives you a massive clue about how it's meant to bite directly into the fruit. All right, Section 3. The extraction process. Time for some dynamic action. Let's move to and see how this builds. We're going to shift gears from just looking at the resting tool to actually deducing the dynamic action it's built for. Kind of imagine feeling this in your own hands. First, you'd have to chop off that leafy green crown to expose the flesh inside. Second, you take the tool and carefully align that jagged, serrated inner tube directly over the pale, hard center core. Third, using the T-handle, you push down firmly while twisting. The serrated tube grinds straight down through the tough core, while that larger flat circular base slices through the outer diameter. And finally, this is the best part, once you hit the bottom, you just pull straight up to extract all the usable fruit in one smooth motion. It literally cuts and separates simultaneously. Now, I really want to highlight a specific, truly brilliant design detail down on the tool's base. Do you see that single slit or slice right there in the flat metal cutting disc? That is not a manufacturing defect. Because of that specific angled slit, as you twist the handle and drive the tool down, it doesn't just cut a bunch of flat, disconnected rings. It actually acts like an auger, cutting one single continuous spiral of fruit. It's like a giant delicious spring, and you can connect this directly to the shape of the fruit slices lying right next to it. Once you pull that spiral out, making just one slice straight down the side instantly separates the whole thing into those beautiful, uniform rings. So the crucial point is, well, it brings us to Section 4, the perfect results. Let's talk about that highly efficient yield.
We really need to contrast what we're seeing here with the traditional knife method. If you've ever tried to carve a pineapple with a chef's knife, you know it is incredibly messy. Your hands get covered in sticky juice, it's honestly a bit dangerous trying to hack away at a slippery cylinder, and you end up wasting so much good fruit trying to carve out all those little prickly brown eyes left in the flesh. But the results created by the slicer, it's an entirely different story. It is clean, it is wildly precise, and the yield is totally optimized.
And this brilliantly illustrates the trifecta of perfect results. The tool has essentially deconstructed the pineapple into 3 distinct, perfectly separated components. Let's break down that final yield. First, you get a perfectly uniform, beautiful stack of vibrant yellow rings, completely free of any tough skin or nasty little eyes. Second, notice the pale yellow cylindrical core resting on the board. It has been totally isolated and removed. That tough, woody part is completely separated from the sweet flesh. And third, which is arguably the coolest part, look at the completely intact hollowed-out outer shell standing straight up in the background. The precision of this tool means there is virtually zero waste. The good stuff is stacked up and ready to eat, the bad stuff is neatly isolated, and the shell itself is perfectly preserved. Which leaves us with a wonderfully fun thought experiment to wrap up today's explainer. Look at that beautifully intact shell standing back there. It is essentially a watertight, naturally decorative vessel. So, what would you serve inside a perfect, hollowed-out pineapple bowl? Maybe a fresh tropical fruit salad, a tiki-inspired drink, some awesome pineapple fried rice. The engineering of this tool doesn't just save you time and give you better fruit, it literally creates a brand new culinary presentation out of what used to be waste. I really hope this visual breakdown sparked some culinary imagination for you and maybe even makes you want to tackle a whole pineapple yourself. Keep asking questions, keep looking closely at the brilliant design hiding in everyday objects, and I'll see